Yes, today, April 5th, the 3-year anniversary of Baylor basketball's national championship victory over Gonzaga in Indianapolis, 86-70. Probably anybody watching this, and most Baylor fans can tell you exactly where they were on that night. I was in McLean Stadium. I got to watch it with some of my best college friends, and it was truly a once in a lifetime experience. I really wish I was in Indianapolis, but being in Waco was the second best place for it. I think the further we get away from that championship team, the more we can appreciate it and appreciate what that moment meant for the university, for the basketball program, and for a lot of us, the fans who didn't think this would ever happen. And I can't lie, man. I didn't think they were ever going to do it. Baylor football, Baylor men's basketball, I thought they were never going to win a national championship. And we could have a great time still, maybe making a crazy Final Four run at one point, but, having a good, steady program that made the tournament a lot. And then they made that switch to elite. And in very short order from when that switch got flipped, we saw them do the unthinkable. And especially to do it over that Gonzaga team. It would probably be better in the history books to do it over Duke or North Carolina or Kentucky. But you talk about a Gonzaga team that was 31-0. Like, nobody thought they could be beaten. And nobody picked Baylor in that game. Nobody. Even though Baylor was so strong that whole year. So I think because of that, a lot of people who aren't fans of Baylor, aren't really tuned into college basketball, just saw this as a big upset and didn't realize how dominant Baylor was. And I think it's important to look back on not just that night, but that team, that 28-2 team that just rolled through everybody. And if COVID had not infiltrated their locker room, we could have been talking about them as the undefeated team. Like, 28-2 on the year. One of those losses comes after 17 days off away from the facility, when they lost to Kansas, and then they lose to Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament, which came after a second COVID infiltration into the program, where again they were just kind of not with each other and not practicing. But just an unbelievable team, just rolled through the Big 12 at I think whatever it was, 13-1 or 15-1, whatever that was, and never dropped below, I think, fifth the whole year. All their games they won by 8 or more points, which is just an incredible stat to look at for an entire college basketball season, especially the Big 12 and running through the NCAA tournament. But specifically that Gonzaga game, it's just, you almost had to be there. Like, we put the nation on notice, like, right from the jump. Gonzaga had no idea what hit them. Was 9-0 or 11-0 right out of the gate. I remember watching this game and thinking, like, Corey Kispert was a first-team All-American. And you watch that game when you're like, he wouldn't even start for Baylor. Like, he was a total non-factor. Suggs got his points. Timmy was shut down big time. He has the most 20-plus point games in the history of the NCAA tournament. I think he had 12 in that game against Baylor. The Zags were held 21 points under their season average. This team averaged 91 points a game. And Baylor held them to 70, the lowest total they had the whole year. That is mind-boggling. Not only did we beat what people were calling one of the best college basketball teams of all time, they destroyed them. They made them look like an average college basketball team. And we were touting this as one of the very best, maybe the best to ever play the game, maybe the best offensive college basketball team ever outside of maybe a Loyola Marymount. They held them to 70 points, and they needed garbage time to get there. That's incredible. It's incredible, man. And this Baylor defense, which Ken Palm, didn't love statistically, they were, I think, 27th by the end of the run, but like 44th going into the tournament. And they were still, I mean, they were turning teams over like one on every 4 or 5 possessions. They were absolute ball hawks. An incredible, incredible team. In the Final Four, they were plus 35. I had to like sit back in amazement at how UConn could go plus 55 in the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight, just last weekend. And that is incredible. I'm not taking away from that. But then I thought Baylor took it a round further and was plus 35. Like they got to the Final Four and it got easier. No one could touch them. That team is forever, forever untouchable, forever engraved in our minds. That starting five, all icons, all legends. Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler, Maceo Teague, Mark Vidal, Flo Thamba, and then you got Jonathan Chachua. You've got Adam Flagler. You've got a guy who plays at Houston. Like that was an unbelievable. Matthew Meyer, can't even forget Matthew Meyer time. Like that team, top to bottom, unbelievable, and just all Baylor legends. Mark Patterson scoring in the Final Four. Oh man, I got emotional on the night. I get emotional thinking about it. Just how special that team was and is, for all of us Baylor fans, and that special parade that came afterwards. Um, that will never be touched, and if need be, we could suck on that nipple forever. I think Baylor has the coach and the resources and the commitment to get back there and do it again. I truly do think that, even after what we've seen over the last couple of years. But those kinds of things, sometimes they're once in a lifetime. And that team was once in a lifetime. And I will never forget where I was that night and how grateful I am for that team, for what they did for the university and for us as Baylor fans. I mean, truly, not to get too corny, but like gave us a chance to believe in something sports wise, that you can be at the very bottom and get to the very top. They proved that. Let me know what you think, what you remember from that night. Please, please do drop that down in the comments below.